We're live. Good afternoon, everyone. Monaco Grand Prix. Strangely enough, one of my favorite races of the year from my childhood, but never really gives us that interesting a race somehow. It's always quite boring, but it looks great, and there can be some dramatic crashes as well because it's so tight around the Monaco street circuit, so very very tight. Qualifying yesterday, my goodness, it it reminded me a little bit, I guess, of 20. Let me think. 2012, when Schumacher got his last pole position. That's really and truly what it reminded me of. Oh, good times. Good times. Now, how are we doing today? Predictions for today's race win. Well, as you can see on my ticker at the bottom, Verstappen. It's very hard to predict against Red Bull these days. Perez is starting in last place, so he's not going to win it. He's not going to win it. Let's be fair. However, Verstappen starts on pole position, and it's all about track position on this lap. And the fact that he's starting on pole, oh, it's really bad news, I think, for the rest of the drivers. Really is. It's down to Alonso. It's down to Ocon. It's down to Sainz. It's down to those guys to put him under pressure at the start. Not a ton of room to be overtaking at the start either. So this is not going to be easy by any means whatsoever. Not going to be easy at all. But that's what you get. That's what you get. All right. Well, let's have a look at the starting grid because they're getting ready to go here. I'm really hoping for an exciting race, by the way. I just, anything will be a bonus over what I expect at the moment. That's kind of how I feel. I tell you, those aerial shots that they're showing us with the helicopter are amazing. Amazing. So the starting grid, anyway, with Perez starting in last place. Oh, Sergio, you shouldn't have done that. Not only did he smash the car into the wall during Q1 and now he's starting in last place, he may have compromised his car as well. I haven't heard any stories about him having to change gearbox or anything like that, but that doesn't mean it's not true. I think the bigger issue is the crane had to hoist away the Red Bull, and everybody got to see the bottom of that car, got to see the groundworks, everything that they've put in, the aerodynamics. This is interesting. Of course, the same thing happened with the Mercedes car, but we don't know if that Mercedes is actually an improvement. So I guess a lot of the teams will just have to take a picture of that and come back to it. Okay, so that's a long way of starting the rundown. Perez in 20th, Zhu in 19th, Hulkenberg 18th, Magnussen 17th, Sargent 16th, Bottas 15th, Stroll very disappointing down in 14th for him. This is a real driver's circuit though. Albon is in 13th, De Vries is in 12th, good qualifying from De Vries. Piastri 11th, Norris 10th. We have Tsunoda then in 9th. Apologies, had to cough. Russell is in 8th, Gasly is in 7th, Leclerc is in 6th, Hamilton 5th, Sainz 4th, Ocon 3rd, it's Alonso 2nd, and Verstappen in 1st place. And as I was saying, my prediction for the race win is Verstappen. My wish for the race win is Alonso. We really want to see him win after all of this time. Dark horse, you have to give it to Ocon based on that qualifying performance yesterday. That was a really impressive qualifying performance. Really and truly. Sean Oak 96. Alonso has to start him at the start. It's the best chance we have for a race. Completely agree with you. Completely agree. Otherwise, we could well be counting on pit stops. The problem is, they're pushing back Verstappen's car there. Why are they pushing it back so far? Well back. Making sure that he's not penalised for being in the incorrect position, I guess. Not taking any chances whatsoever. It's a formation lap that they need to do. So as I was saying, if Verstappen gets the lead from the start, I think he's probably going to pull out a little bit of a gap. Not only does he have the fastest car he's shown us yesterday, he has no fear around this circuit either. So this is going to be a tough one if he gets off at the start. Now, anything can happen in this race. There can be a lot of red flags. There's no space or no runway to take cars away off the circuit. They have to be taken by the crane if there's any incident, and there more than likely will be an incident. So we should expect safety cars. We should expect red flags. And there might be an interesting pit strategy that comes into play because of that. But let's call a spade a spade. It's going to be fairly ominous if Verstappen gets away in the lead of the race. Fairly ominous indeed. Now, they're just doing the formation lap at the moment. We're waiting for them to come back around here, and then we'll be all ready to go. I think. Lovely shot again. Oh, I'd love to go there once. Would love to go there for the race, that is. Wouldn't mind living there either, but I think I need substantially more income than I have at the moment. Substantially more. Love to pull up there in a yacht, actually. That's what I'd love to do. Fastest pit stop so far this season has been Ferrari. 2.3 seconds, was it? Oh, I missed it. It was 2.1 or 2.3. It was amazingly fast, and considering it was Ferrari as well. Surprising. Shocking even. I'd go as far as to say shocking. Now I'm going to keep an eye on Twitter today as well. I need to log into my Formula 1 app so that we can have some team radio as well. Sign in. Yeah, that'll be fine. Oh, surely you remember my password. No, it doesn't. We have to do things the hard way. Well, what's new now? They're finally slotted up on the grid. That was a very slow formation lap, I must say. Very, very slow. Little bit surprised it was so slow, actually. Now, I have about a usually a 50-second, 55-second lag. And I'm sure there's a couple of seconds that get added on to YouTube as well. So let's bear that in mind whilst we're watching this. Anubab asks, when's it starting? It's starting now. Now. The red lights are coming on. That's 5 of them on. They're out. Oh, it looks like a very good start for Verstappen. Alonso just almost pulled in behind him. Will he try to do a run? No, Ocon is going to try and get Alonso here at the start. They all come through fairly clean. So no issues there. No issues. Weather update, Anne. It's cloudy, but it's dry. I'm not convinced there's going to be rain. Would be great. It would be another variable. So it looks like they've all gotten away fairly clean here. Here's both of the McLarens coming through in their changed livery for this race as well. Oh, there's contact there. That was a yellow flag. Now we're just coming down to Casino here, which is the hairpin. There's Perez. Perez is staying out of trouble, staying at the back. I've never seen a Red Bull go that slow. Even when they pull over on the side of the track with the engine blowing, they don't go that slow. That's insane. That is insane indeed. Now, what's the gap that we've got here? What's the gap? 1.1 seconds we're seeing at the moment between Verstappen and Alonso. Alonso went for a safe start. He almost looked like he pulled in behind Verstappen just to get the whole thing up and running. Weird indeed. Stroll has got damage and a puncture, he's saying. Now, just checking to see if we have the team radios working. We should have. We have Esteban Ocon. Let's listen to this team radio.
Possible debris 5, 6, 7. Stay online.
Couldn't hear that on my side, unfortunately. Now, Perez has pitted. So he's onto the hard tyres, I assume. We just need to get confirmation of that. I think he put on the hard tyres. And he did indeed. Guan Yu Zhou and Hülkenberg also pitted onto hard tyres. They're going to try and run to the end of the race. That's the plan. Running to the end of the race. I don't think this actually comes up in the different pit strategies that we have. Hulkenberg and Sargent, an incident was noted. That was the collision we saw a little bit earlier there. We have a team radio here for Sergio Perez. Not Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz.
Perez and Hülkenberg just already pitted for hard to go to the end. Also Zhu, all clear.
Okay, yes, as they've confirmed. Probably Perez is going to try to go to the end now. The only thing that will change that, I guess, is tire degradation, which we're apparently not seeing, and rain, of course, if he has to change for intermediates. DRS has been enabled. Oof, is that going to make much of a difference at this race? Well, it can only help, I suppose. It can only help. So it's 1.3 seconds now, the gap between Verstappen and Alonso. Ocon then is a further 3.4 seconds behind Alonso. Sainz 4.6 seconds behind. Hamilton 5.8 seconds further back. Those gaps from the leader, they're surely gaps from the leader because they look much closer on screen to each other. Yeah, those are gaps from the leader. Russell has been noted for doing something very bad. Well, maybe not very bad. We'll find out soon. Incorrect starting location. How did he manage to do that? Too far forward in the grid box. That's what we're thinking at the moment. Ocon considered the move on Alonso. You know he did. You know he considered it, but it didn't work out for him. He thought better of it. He's holding a podium position at the moment. On board here with Hamilton. He's trying to get the jump on Sainz. Sainz holds firm to the outside of the first corner. Oh, that's very close racing. I'm sure they touched tires. The tires just touched there. There was no space for Hamilton. Sainz had the corner. You could argue he was ahead of Hamilton going into the corner. Racing incident, though, is usually what would be called if there was anything happening there. This is on board with Stroll and... Oh, Lance, seriously. He tried around the outside on the hairpin and got squeezed into the wall by, that'll be Albon more than likely. Is it Albon or is it Sargent? Yeah, that was Albon, and then we can see Sargent is further back here. Fascinating. Yeah, Sargent not happy with the contact that he had there with Hülkenberg. They've told him to get the head down and get racing. Almost an unsafe release there for the Alfa Romeo, but actually I think that was just a brilliant release. Just spot on. Perfection. Lance Stroll has been on the team radio. Let's listen to what Lance has to say.
So much contact, man. Chair disaster.
Well, you're not wrong, Lance. It is a boop disaster. It's not good. It's not good indeed. Now, lap 5. 1.9 seconds ahead of Alonso, so he's gapping him a little bit. Hülkenberg has a penalty. It's confirmed. A 5-second penalty for Nico Hülkenberg. Okay, well, it was on the first lap, but clearly the stewards were not having any of that. Perez has just set the fastest lap of the race. Let's have a look here at the tracker. He must have a bit of space. He does have a bit of space all the way up to Stroll. So he has a relatively clear track in front of him. I've wondered about this strategy. I was thinking about this earlier this morning. How is this going to work out for Perez? Because I was assuming that he'll either run really long into the race starting on hard tires, or he will pit early and put on the hard tires and go to the end. I couldn't figure out which one was better. I came to the conclusion probably what he did, stopping early on, would see him have the most success. But then again, he's at the mercy of the other cars in front of him and waiting for them to pit and everything else. The good news is he's gotten ahead of the 2 other cars that did pit as well. So he's winning that race in a sense. Can he make the top 10? Still an incredible ask. But he's pitted now. Safety cars could come into play, anything like that. Lovely overhead shot again, going around Casino, around the corner, and then they'll be heading into the tunnel. I love this section of the track just out beside the sea. then into the tunnel. And always when they show us the onboard shots, of course, the camera can't adjust as fast as the human eye, so it's always blinding as you come out of the tunnel. And then it's a fairly bumpy way down to the chicane. I'm not sure how these guys managed to get that car stopped. Now, I'm not speaking from experience or anything. I'm speaking purely from my PlayStation days. But I do remember it being particularly bumpy down there. We have a team radio now for Logan Sargent. What's the story, Logan Sargent?
Wait, what was that?
All race. Head down, head down. Everybody saw it.
That was he's coming together with Nico Hülkenberg, and Hülkenberg has been penalised. But that team radio was from much earlier in the race. I'm not sure why they only put it up now. But regardless, a good one. Now, there's a huge gap back to Ocon from Alonso. It looks like it's 5.5 seconds now, so really pulling away here. And 2.4 seconds is the gap between Verstappen and Alonso. So, incident involving Russell reviewed, no further action, or no further investigation, incorrect starting location. I'm not sure how to interpret that. So, he's gotten away with it, or that they don't need to review it anymore. They can see clearly he was wrong. Well, if he was wrong, they'd have probably put a penalty on the screen. So I think that means no further action. Here's De Vries on board. He's running in 12th place down to the chicane. Oh, lovely. Look at that. You can actually see my head moving as we go through this camera angle. So close to the barriers here. They run so close to the barriers. I'll tell you, if you were a Formula 1 driver, the most gutting thing here would be if you did all of the laps, let's say a 78 lap race. If you did 77 laps and you crashed on the 78, oh, that would not be good. And asks, do you think the rookies will have a clean race? The track got new surface, which will affect the tires later. The rookies, I'm trying to figure out now, who are we talking about rookies here? Because we've De Vries and Piastri actually running 11th and 12th. I don't think we have any other rookies, but we could technically, Hülkenberg is re-rookied, and we could bring in Guan Yu Zhou and guys like that from last season. It seems like the tires are lasting, and I'm not sure it's anything to do with the surface. It just seems like Pirelli have created a much more durable compound this year. To the detriment of the racing ever so slightly, but yeah, I'm not convinced. I think the teams are really certain. You know, look at Perez putting on the hard tire on the second lap. They're convinced they can go to the end in these tires, which is amazing. And even if you look at the stats from Pirelli, let me see if I have this. The tires, yeah. So Pirelli are kind of saying that for people starting on the medium tire, which is a lot of drivers, although Alonso did start on the hard tire, which I think is very interesting. Sargent is a rookie. You're absolutely right, Anne. Sargent is a rookie. Yeah, I don't fancy all the rookies to make it to the end of the race. One of them will probably end up in a barrier somewhere. And I think more than likely an extremely experienced driver is going to end up in the barrier somewhere as well during this race. But we're in much more danger early on, I would have thought, just with the heavy fuel tanks, the possibilities for oversteering, understeering, everything else like that. But we'll see. We'll see tire degradation, of course, then will be the other factor, as you mentioned. So I'm not going to count on tire degradation, but it would be fantastic if that did come into play and teams had to make kind of like an emergency pit stop towards the end of the race. That would be truly excellent. Sean Og is saying, I wonder what the game plan is for Alonso. Yeah, well, actually noting that Alonso is on the hard tire. Actually, if I bring back my graphic for a second, that means he can run quite deep into the race and put on a soft tire later on in the race. Potentially. Now, whether or not he's going to do that, because if you look at the tire allocations here, you can see, now I'm looking for Alonso. Where is Alonso on this list? He's over on the right hand side. He doesn't have any he doesn't have any unused soft tires. I think he will run deep into this race. He's 3 seconds now behind Verstappen after 10 laps. Different compound. I don't want to get too excited and say he's in this. I just don't want to. Nick is going to bin it, Sean Oak says. Is he? Is he? Well, let's think about it though. Nick. Who's Nick? Nick De Vries, as opposed to Nico Hulkenberg. Nick De Vries has been racing for years and years, and actually he was the first Formula E world champion, so he's very used to street circuits. So if Nick bins it, I'll be very disappointed in him. Let's just put it like that. I'll be very disappointed in him. We have Fernando Alonso team radio. Hopefully it's a good one.
Which axle you're wearing?
So Fernando, it's all about the rears, the left rear, it's all about that. So we're happy to use the fronts to protect the rears.
Can't say I understood that. Front rears, left rears. He was talking about axles. I would have assumed it was something to do with setup for tires. Let's do a quick rundown of the race and see where we're standing. So Hulkenberg 20th, Guan Yu Zhou 19th, Perez 18th, with the fastest lap at the moment, which only becomes relevant if he gets into the top 10. Stroll 17th, very disappointing Stroll. I have to stop talking about Stroll now. We need to bring back Latifi. He needs to be our Canadian driver in Formula 1. Sainz talking about let's push it. Oh my god, seriously, Sainz? There's pushing and there's pushing. He nearly drove into the back of Ocon there. He had to take evading action and hop over the curb there to avoid that. Oh my god, he got very close. I didn't even read the text on the screen. I just saw this arse of an Alpine come out of nowhere. He just drove up behind him so fast. Oh, he's damaged his front wing as well. There's a piece hanging off here, and he hasn't been flagged yet. Thought he might have come into the pit that time round. He didn't come into the pit. Yeah, Ferrari are ready for him. Ferrari are ready for him, not from him. Yellow flag in Sector 1. I wonder if that's because of debris. Yeah, it looks like a piece of carbon fibre has fallen off that front wing. That's a great observation, Anne, about the tyre strategies that the teams are employing. Ocon is on the medium tyre, whereas Gasly is on the hard tyre. Alonso is on hard. What did they put? They actually put Stroll on hard as well, but he was so far down, I don't think that matters. Hamilton and Russell, yes, split strategy. Norris, Piastri, split strategy. It's a great observation, I have to say. Both of the Williams are on the same tyres, though. Sainz will stay out. It looks like Sainz is going to stay out. You're spot on as well, Sean Oak. He hasn't had a good season at all. I really thought he could be very impressive against Tsunoda. And this, for me, this is frustrating. Has Tsunoda really stepped it up this season? Or has De Vries just not performed to the expected level? We know the car isn't great, and that doesn't help. But De Vries was not in a great Williams car last year and did look impressive. So that's why I had such high expectations for him. And that's why it's such a shame that Tsunoda is not fighting against Gasly again this year, because that would be a real bar pole to see exactly where he is in terms of performance. But no, we can't see that. On board here with Alonso. He's made me nervous for a second why they're showing Alonso. Does he have a problem? He looks like he's going plenty fast. 4.3 seconds now behind Verstappen. Okay, team radio here for Alonso. Hopefully all is good.
Maybe puncture on the left, right?
Oh, he thinks he might have a puncture. I wonder if that's from Sainz's debris. So he's countryman causing issues. Did Alonso run over the debris? The team asked him if he had contact and he confirms he did not. They can't see anything to suggest a puncture on data though. So he stays out in second. Okay, well let's see if it... Oh, he's dropping away slightly now. It's 5.1 seconds now, the gap. I'm going to keep an eye on that. 1.1 seconds now between Ocon and Sainz. Sainz has lost a little bit of speed here as a result of his shenanigans, let's call it. Now Leclerc in 6th place. He's got Hamilton just ahead of him. What's the gap on this? It is... Oh, I'm going to have to do a little bit of math on this one. 0.6 of a second about. So he's quite close, but is he going to get an opportunity to overtake? Hamilton is on the medium tires. Leclerc is on the hard tires. So just an interesting variable to throw in there. I think we haven't seen an overtake yet today. Hulkenberg attempted one and got penalised for it. Have we seen an overtake? Oh, here's a replay now of Sainz. Oh, he really thought about it, and he must have realised at the last second there just wasn't enough space to dive down the... No, yeah, Ocon closed the door. Yeah, he wasn't in the slightest bit ahead of Ocon, so I think Ocon was perfectly entitled to take that. And Ocon he's lucky. He's lucky that he didn't get a puncture from that. There was heavy contact with his tyre. He's also lucky he didn't get barged into a barrier as a result of that. And we're just watching a slow-mo here of the piece. He went under Sainz's tyre as he dropped it. Oh, did Hamilton make contact with it? It looks like Leclerc pushed it out of the way a little bit as well. It looks like Hamilton and Leclerc had a little bit. De Vries was a luck merchant when he won Formula E, to be fair. A lot went right for him to win it. Formula E is it's a tricky beast to call. I have to say that. He was the most consistent, if I remember correctly. That's why he won it. And he had a lot of DNFs. But that Mercedes was so much faster than any other car that season as well for some reason. So it was almost like he defaulted purely on the basis of more top 10 finishes than anybody else, really. He did win a couple of races now, don't get me wrong, but I kind of see what you mean about Formula E. It's so hard to call with Formula E. We see such variance from race to race as well between the cars. I think only this season we've started to notice it settle down a little bit, where the Jaguar powered cars look pretty strong and the ones with the Audi powertrain as well, but hard to know. Or was it the Porsche powertrain? Oh, stick to the Formula 1. Couple of team radios coming up here. Esteban Ocon, let's listen to this.
There was no space for both of us there, so...
Yeah, copy that.
I completely agree with you, Esteban. I completely agree. And then Nico Hulkenberg.
I'm trying to save tires as much as possible now, but let me know if when I need to push, and I'm in front again if someone pits.
Okay, so he's going to try and save tires. He's 2 seconds off of Joe at the back of the field now in 20th place. So not a good race for him. Magnussen struggling in 16th as well. Not a great circuit here for Haas. On the bright side, neither of them has put the car into the barriers yet, which I think was their very big issue that they had here with Mick Schumacher, unfortunately. It'd be great to see Mick Schumacher back in Formula 1. I think, though, I'm more encouraged by the name as opposed to anything else. But anyway. 6.7 seconds now between Verstappen and Alonso. Oh, ouch. Well, we'll see how it plays out. 17 laps into 78 gone. This could be a long race. Race control has given a black and white flag for car 55, which is Sainz, causing a collision. Okay then. Very good. Oh, Magnussen. He's gotten an overtake done. That's our first overtake today, is it? He's overtaken Sargent. Magnussen is up into 15th place. And now he can get to chasing down Bottas, who's 4 seconds up the road. And you can see he's pulling away from him already. So Sargent really slowing them down. And next it's Perez and Stroll just behind. Well, Stroll and Perez, I should say. Wrong order. Perez needs this. Oh my goodness, he needs this. But it won't be easy to get past Stroll. Stroll will be putting his elbows out. Oh, that's ironic. All aboard the Sargent train. Williams just tweeted. I think they probably tweeted that before the overtake. Who will have the fastest lap today? That's a good question. Hang on here. Oh, it could be an overtake. That's Bottas trying to get past Albon. No, it doesn't work for him this time. It doesn't work. But look how fast Magnussen closed down Bottas. I told you there was 4 seconds gap in that. The Williams must be going incredibly slow. Incredibly slow. So coming back to your question, Anne, fastest lap today. Well, fastest lap today. The logical part of me is going to say Verstappen fastest lap because he's just going to do it towards the end of the race. However, if you look at the pit strategy, because of the fact that... just looking at the replay there. If you look at the pit strategies, because of the fact that Alonso could be running deep into this race on the hard tyres, and he will change over to medium or soft before the end. I'm not convinced he'll change to soft. Perez... Yeah, so Stroll and Perez both get past Sargent. Very, very nice move there. Very nice move. And then we see Bottas. He gets it done on Albon. Another excellent move. Wow, it's hotting up. It's hotting up here. So logic then dictates that it's probably Alonso who get the fastest lap today. But Verstappen won't be happy about it. He will not be happy about it. Verstappen loves those fastest laps. Fira says, praying for Charles to win. Well, Fira, he's still in the race, which is good news. And he's very close to the back of Hamilton here. So he could be looking for 5th. We're only on lap 20. Just over a quarter of a way into the race, and anything can happen here with these walls. So it's not over till it's over. It would be amazing to see him win his home race. But he's such a bad record at this circuit. Such a bad record. I think last season was his best result so far, and that was 6th, was it? It was 6th or 4th? 6th, I think. 8.5 seconds now between Verstappen and Alonso. Hülkenberg gets past Logan Sargent. Sargent is dropping back. He's going to have Joe and Albon next. Oh, Albon pitted, did he? Albon must have pitted. Here's a replay of the incident now. Hülkenberg down the Oh no. That was Bottas, was it? No, it was Joe. Oh, something really weird going on there. He ran completely wide as a result. The Haas went through. Now, here's the battle between Leclerc and Hamilton. Fastest sector 2 goes to Perez. He must have some clear air again. Perez, this is where I need to look at the tracker. This is what the tracker was made for. This is what it was made for. It's bigger on my other screen. Okay. He doesn't, he doesn't. He's sitting in behind Stroll and Magnussen. Oh, Ferrari doing the dummy. They were out on the pit lane there. I guess for, well, hard to call who that was for because both Sainz and Leclerc are on hard tyres. Didn't think you were allowed to do that anymore. Now, Carlos Sainz team radio here. I wonder what this is about. Maybe it's his front wing.
And box to overtake Ocon. Box to overtake Ocon.
Box to overtake Ocon. I haven't seen him box yet. Sargent is in the pits now. he's exiting the pit. 9.4 seconds between Verstappen and Alonso. Ocon then 16 seconds back. Sainz 1.1 seconds behind Ocon, so he's kept that pretty consistent. I suppose he doesn't want to be travelling in the dirty air of that car. Also, he has the front wing damage. Then we have the battle for fifth here between Hamilton and Leclerc, and the gap there is about 0.9 of a second as it stands at the moment. So Leclerc, no doubt, has a bit of DRS. Not that it means too much around here, but it certainly can mean that he'll be running much closer to the back of Hamilton as a result of that. Gasly is closing in on Leclerc as well. He's 1.5 seconds behind Leclerc now. Russell then is 2.3 seconds behind Gasly. And Tsunoda then further back in 9th place. He's 7.8 seconds behind Russell. Further 5.2 seconds, I think it was, before it went off the screen. Norris is back in 10th place. Sean Oak is praying for something bad to happen. So he wants Verstappen to win it. I'm not going to be accused of being biased today, so I'm not wearing my Ferrari t-shirt. I'm not wearing my Red Bull t-shirt. I'm actually wearing a Mercedes t-shirt. If you can see that, no, there. It's Mercedes, believe me. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. It's Mercedes. I really would prefer Hamilton not to win, but if Russell wins, I'll be absolutely fine with that. Could handle that. Yes, indeed. Look, if Hamilton wins, Hamilton wins. I'll get over it. I've seen him win 100 and something times before, so it's not going to be anything new. That's the main reason I don't want him to win, because we're so used to seeing him win. Would it mean anything for this championship? No, probably not. It would mean more for his battle with his teammate and, of course, the Constructors' Championship. Now, we have this lovely nose cam here for the Red Bull car. This is Perez, because he's running behind other cars. So he's just going to let Stroll do the hard work here against Magnussen and see how that worked out. Magnussen, I don't want to jinx it, but Magnussen won't be easy to get past. He has a lot of experience. He's a good racer. He's a hard racer. He's a fair racer. Stroll, though, looks like he's up for the challenge, and he's lapping very close to the back of Magnussen's car at the moment. He is really. Magnussen now is 5.4 seconds behind Bottas, so that's back in 14th. Magnussen, Bottas 13th. De Vries is in 12th at the moment, still in 12th. Piastri is in 11th, still in 11th, and Norris is in 10th, still in 10th. That's where he started. That's where he started. Bottas, team radio. All right, Valtteri.
How are your tyres?
All good.
Brilliant. I love it. Oh, now, was that a movement, a double movement there for Magnussen? I don't think it was, probably. I think that was his single movement, but you want to be careful with that, K-Mag, because you could catch out a driver like Stroll doing something like that. Stroll went for it. He went for it. We've Carlos Sainz team radio. Tell us something good, Carlos. Sing us a song.
And for info, Alonso reporting rear left graining on the hard and also lap time 7.9.
Rear left graining, so no smooth operator for us today, unfortunately. No smooth operator. Lovely view going up the hill there. Ah, love this circuit. Love it. Love it. Not suitable for Formula 1 any longer. Coming back to Formula E for a second, they always have amazing races here. Absolutely stunning races every year. It just works well enough for them. The cars are a good bit faster this year as well, but they're not as wide as Formula 1 cars, and they're able to run a lot closer to each other than Formula 1 cars are. And I do realize the irony of saying that as I look at Magnussen, Stroll and Perez go through the screen running incredibly close to each other. But anyway, smooth operator. So tell me, where are you all watching from today? What's it like where you're watching from? What time is it from where you're watching? And who are you supporting in the championship this year? All right. Is there anybody that wants to see Verstappen win this race? Is there anybody who wants to see Hamilton win this race? Oh, don't say the H word. Don't say the V word. What do you think about that? We've Lando Norris here. Team radio.
Happy to do less LICO.
Team speak, I guess. Team speak. Can't pretend to understand that one. Grid Junk says, greetings from Dublin. Dutchy here. Go, Max. Well, greetings from Dublin indeed. Yes, so we have a Max Verstappen fan here. Max Verstappen. I'm actually based in Dublin as well, so greetings from Dublin. There you go. No Hamilton fans, though. Nobody's going to admit to being a Hamilton fan. Logan Sargent has sustained a rear left puncture. He's going to box again. Is he? Has he boxed already, or we missed something? That just came up on Twitter, so I think it's probably old. John Oak is in leash, and he wants Perez or Alonso to win. Nice. Perez or Alonso. Yeah, I could totally handle that. Perez ain't going to do it probably at this stage, but Alonso, I tell you, it's been a while since we've seen the wily old dog, the old fox, win. Sainz wants to know, how is rain looking? In 45 minutes, but slowing down the risk. Okay, so they think if it's going to rain, it'll rain in 45 minutes, but the clouds are slowing down. Well, the fairly dark looking clouds over there. And, you know, with all these Irish people as well on this stream, if we know anything about weather, we know about rain, and you can sense it. You can sense it when it's going to rain. Those clouds don't look great, I have to say. It's all about the camera, the way it's set up as well. All about the camera. Contrast, I mean. Contrast. We have a final day of the Premier League today as well. That's all going down. Isabella says, hello from Australia. I want Leclerc or Sainz. Hello, Isabella from Australia. I also want Leclerc or Sainz to win. Yeah, Ferrari are my team of the moment, I would say. They're not doing so well, though. Not doing so well. Sainz is hanging in there in fourth, so he's in with a shout. And Leclerc, of course, this is his home race, and he really wants to win this. He's in sixth. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens in this race. Long way to go. This is going to be my catchphrase for the day. There's a long way to go, until there won't be a long way to go. Now, Verstappen leads over Alonso 11.6 seconds. Ocon then 17.9 seconds further back. Sainz is 1.5 seconds, just changed behind Ocon. So I wonder how safe Ocon is in third place. Ferrari seem to be asking Sainz to come in. Yeah, they're saying box to overtake Ocon. So they're trying to undercut him. And now they've just told him to stay out. The clouds are darkening. Williams had just tweeted, well, Williams will be hoping for some rain. I don't fancy Logan Sargent staying on the circuit in one piece. His car, at least. Hopefully Logan Sargent stays intact. But his car will stay in one piece if it rains. But then again, you know, it could be anyone. It could be anyone that has a mishap in that situation. Could be anyone. Yeah, as I was saying, the final day of the Premier League is on today, and I think there isn't a lot to play for apart from the relegation places, so that's going to be the big battle. I think it's on later this afternoon, like 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So it was a bit later than I had anticipated, but that's great. It means I get to watch the Formula 1, and then I get to watch Everton get relegated. Or whoever else gets relegated. I don't know who can get relegated at this stage. I think Everton still can get relegated. Leicester City can get relegated. Southampton are gone. Maybe Nottingham Forest can get relegated. I can't remember that one. Can't remember that. And what else is going on today? Oh, there's hurling and football and all the rest. Now, on board here with, this is Magnussen, and he's closed up behind Bottas. He's about 0.8 of a second behind. A lot of tire degradation, Verstappen has just said there. He came on the team radio to say that. That's interesting. Yeah, coming back to something Anne said earlier on about the new surface, and will it play into the degradation? I didn't think so, but you know, you could be onto something here. telling Ocon to keep doing what he's doing because Ferrari are getting frustrated behind. So there for you. There for you. So apparently the Red Bull pool is empty due to a hosepipe ban in France. I want it full of sticky Red Bulls. Oh gosh. So Verstappen can be pushed into it when he wins. Oh, can you imagine? Ooh, you'd be showering for a week after that. Be careful you don't drink any as well, because I tell you, you won't be sleeping for a week either. It's full of those what do you call them? Those balls full of air, like like a children's ball pit. Isabella asks, question, do you go live every race? I go live almost every race. From time to time, it just doesn't work out. So, for example, there was a race on recently. I'm trying to remember which one it was. And I did the sprint race. So it was... Oh, it'll come back to me. But I did the sprint race on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, I had to travel to the US for work. So I was actually flying, so it didn't work out. Damn real life getting in the way of Formula 1. Now, Sean Oak says, nearly 11 seconds ahead on my tires. Sounds like Lewis. Who's 11 seconds? Yeah. So Hamilton and Verstappen are on the same tire compound for sure, and Ocon as well. Ocon though is struggling big time, but is the medium the best tire, or is hard the best tire? Because we've seen a number of cars running really well. Oh, Max Verstappen has just lapped Perez. Ouch. You need to get some Red Bull onto that. Team radio so for Lewis Hamilton. Maybe this is to do with his 11 seconds.
Rear. I mean, both are going, but particularly rear.
Rear tires in trouble. Is the gap coming down? Yeah, it's dropped to 8 seconds now. It has dropped to 8 seconds. Yeah, it's a grid junk. This is a good point. So Aston Martin are going to be driving with Honda engines from 2026. Alonso has a contract until 2024. Hope he will be around longer. The only thing, Alonso's getting older and older. This is the problem. Aren't we all? But Alonso is getting older and older. And you have to wonder how much longer he can stay in the sport. Here's Hamilton is boxing. So he's in the pits now. I'm fascinated by this, I have to say. I've no doubt Stroll will be around in 2026 for the Honda engines. But will the Honda engine be good? As in, they've kind of exited the sport now. Have they dropped behind again? Are they keeping up the development? I doubt they're keeping up the development because there's a lot of investment that's required for that. So is it going to be a dramatically good engine in 2026 is the question, or will there be that settling in period again? Because Red Bull have taken that Honda engine, which is in great shape, and they're kind of making their own power unit now. I know they're in collaboration with Ford, but it's really a Honda engine. It's fascinating. But Red Bull, I think Red Bull are right to feel a bit peeved and annoyed about all of this. And it feels like Honda, every 5 seconds they decide that they're in, they're out, they're in, they're out, they're in, they're out. They're the main team, manufacturer that seems to do this. They didn't come back with their own team this time, at least. Or this time, I should say. So Hamilton now has come out about 13 seconds behind his teammate Russell. And that puts Hamilton on the hard tyres. Ocon has pitted. All right, so it wasn't the undercut from Ferrari, but Ocon has pitted. So he's undercutting, if anybody. And he's on the way out now. Let's see where he feeds back out. Will he be ahead of Hamilton? He should be ahead of Hamilton. It looks like he's ahead of Hamilton. And behind Russell, 9 seconds behind Russell, and Hamilton then is a further 3 seconds behind. Here's a replay of Perez. Oh, no. That was Verstappen. So Verstappen overtake. Oh, wow. I just have to appreciate that before I talk about it. Stroll pushed me off, says Perez. What the F was that? Is that allowed? He pushed me off. Okay, well, he's very clearly making his case. Let's listen to the team radio.
So stay with Max.
Stay with Max. Okay, so that was the plan, that when Max goes through to overtake the back markers.
If you push me off.
Yeah, we saw that.
What the with that? You're not allowed?
Perez and Stroll are being investigated, leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So it's Perez in particular that's being investigated here. So clearly they don't seem to think that. So well, what happened there was Verstappen has already overtaken Hamilton fastest lap. Verstappen has already overtaken Perez. Max, Alonso is faster than you. Yeah. Sean Oak, the gap from first to second, 6 seconds. Yeah, it's dropping. And Alonso catching Verstappen. He seems to be. This is getting mighty interesting all of a sudden. Mighty interesting. Alonso, of course, will run longer, but the degradation now on the medium tires seems pretty bad. Seems very bad, actually. Hamilton was really complaining as well. And you saw he pitted. And immediately he set the fastest lap. So have we reached that point where Verstappen needs to pit now? I think he should. Anyway, let me get back to this. So Perez has run into the back of the Haas. Oh my goodness, seriously? He ran into the back of Magnussen. He's broken his front wing. I don't know how bad the damage is yet. I haven't gotten a shot at the front, but he's drove into the back. There's a good bit of damage by the looks of it. And there's more debris on the track now as a result of that. But Stroll has gotten past Perez as a result of that. So Verstappen was going through on Stroll as a back marker, and so Stroll had to let him through, and Perez tried to dive down the outside / inside. The outside diverging onto the inside, I guess is what you'd call it in that chicane. And Stroll said, no, don't you dare, and closed the door, and he claims he got pushed off. I think ideally Perez should have just given back the position at that moment, but Perez refused. Perez thinks he was right, and he's in the pits now to get a new front wing. So this is Perez finished for this race. He's not out of the race, but I don't see him making top 10 with this. Oh, that's very disappointing. Very disappointing. Now we've a team radio from Lance Stroll.
Okay, Lance, it was very clear to us. The stewards are investigating. It's under investigation.
You heard it. Under investigation. Signs on team radio swearing for some reason. I'll play it if it comes up on the list, but it's just here on the TV stream that it came up. Sainz is down in 7th now. He's on the medium tire, so he's pitted. So he's going to try to go to the end of the race on the medium tire. He's pitted quite early for that, I would say. Quite early. Is it a 2-stopper here for Sainz? This feels a lot like Ferrari doing the wrong thing to me. Maybe it's a masterstroke, but wouldn't be the first time. And there's Alonso. Alonso has just lapped Stroll. I wondered why Stroll slowed down so much. No further action between Perez and Stroll. I wonder if that's because Stroll was able to get back past Perez. That could have just settled that, to be honest with you. It may have been enough. Mercedes, they weren't able to do enough to jump ahead of Ocon and Sainz. No, but Hamilton now is about 2 seconds behind Sainz, and Sainz himself is 2 seconds behind Ocon. So nobody has really made any great ground on the pit strategy there. Carlos Sainz now, maybe this is the sweary one.
What is Charles' pace?
Charles lap time 17.5 in free air.
I was doing 65.
Okay, it wasn't sweary. That's a relief. That's a relief, isn't it? Potential risk of rain with about 20 laps to go. They're telling Albon now on the team radio. Oh, you know what I'm going to say? Well, there's a long way to go yet. Oh. Lance Stroll makes contact with the back of the Haas. I told you Magnussen won't be easy to get past. So now Magnussen has been tagged by both Stroll and Perez. Let me see. So Alonso now 7.9 seconds behind Verstappen. So Verstappen has managed to find a little bit of pace. And Stroll says he's got damage. Oh, Lance. Oh, Lance. What are you doing? What are you doing at all? Albon Team Radio. Entertain us, Alex.
So it's currently 42 laps to go. Potential risk of rain with about 20 laps to go.
That's the one, yeah. 20 laps to go. So, 20 laps to go. That puts us on lap 58 of 78. So we've exactly 40 laps left in this race. Let's just have a look at this graphic again from Pirelli. And they're saying lap 53 to 58. Wow, can you imagine now if Alonso was able to get into that pit window, it started raining and he was able to switch straight onto the intermediates? I'm not going to say anything more on that. Let's watch how this one plays out. It would be amazing if that was the case, but it's very difficult to say the rain is coming in 20 laps for it to actually arrive in 20 laps. Oh, there's the replay of Stroll and Magnussen. Well, in fairness, it has been Stroll and Perez that have kept us the most entertained so far today. Magnussen did pull off an overtake earlier in the race as well, didn't he? There was one period of time where we had like 3 or 4 overtakes all together around the same time, and it was excellent. And that's what I'm here for. Yeah, it looks like Leclerc could be in trouble here. They're predicting now if Leclerc pits that he is going to come out behind Hamilton, so he will have lost that position. Leclerc was behind Hamilton though before the pit strategy, so I'm not really sure what they're getting at here. Okay, let's run through the standings as they stand at the moment. Sargent is in last, Perez is in 19th, Albon 18th, Zhou 17th, Hülkenberg 16th, Stroll 15th, Magnussen 14th, Bottas 13th, De Vries 12th, Piastri 11th, turn 19 incident involving Magnussen and Stroll is to be investigated. So that was Piastri then in 11th. We have Norris in 10th, Tsunoda 9th, Hamilton 8th, Sainz 7th, Ocon is in 6th, Russell 5th, Gasly 4th, Leclerc 3rd, Alonso 2nd, and Verstappen in 1st. Verstappen, Alonso, Leclerc, Russell, to name but a few, still have to make a pit stop by the looks of it. We have a Piastri team radio. Oh, lovely. Look at that. Lovely clouds. Lovely, lovely clouds. Look at that. Oh, it's warm in Monaco. They could do with a bit of rain. They could do with a bit of lovely, lovely rain. Yeah. Can't beat a good sun shower, I'll tell you that. I think the reason we're all so miserable in Ireland is because the rain is always cold. But if we had warm rain, we wouldn't be miserable. Piastri.
Yeah, there is rain in the north. We think it's still several minutes away if it gets here.
Any predictions regarding up to what place will Verstappen lap in today's race? So he's lapped already up to 12th place. Now. So De Vries now is 4 seconds behind Piastri. So Piastri's definitely getting lapped. Norris is going to get lapped. That's another 13 seconds up the road to Tsunoda. Tsunoda will probably get lapped. We've gone beyond halfway in this race. Ooh. I don't know. No, that will be it. So I think Tsunoda will be the last to get lapped. And the reason I'm saying that is because as it stands, yeah, maybe he could catch Hamilton, but Verstappen hasn't pitted yet and Hamilton has pitted. So there's even a question mark over whether or not he'll catch Tsunoda, although I feel Tsunoda hasn't pitted yet. That is my hunch on this. 9th, then, to answer your question, Anne. He's going to lap up to 9th place. If a safety car comes out, then forget all of that. Forget all of that. Now, Stroll is going to try against Magnussen again. No. No, he must be mighty frustrated behind him now at the moment. A battle for 14th place as well. Crazy. Oh, 2 team radios have just popped up here for Lewis Hamilton. Sir Lewis Hamilton, I should add. He's no sir of mine.
Is anyone else still out on the hard?
Interesting question, Lewis. I wonder if the next radio is just a duplication. We'll see.
Copy. Those who started on it are still out on.
Good answer. Exactly. Those who started on hard are still on hard. Says a lot about the durability of the tires as well. Track temperature 37 degrees Celsius. Body temperature. There you go. So if you lay down on the track, you wouldn't even feel the surface of it. Yeah, I don't fancy Stroll's chances of getting past Magnussen. I'd say he's fairly rattled at this stage after what happened to Perez and what happened to himself. Speaking of Perez, so Perez is down in 19th. He's on medium tires, 12 seconds now behind Albon. Albon himself is 0.4 of a second behind Zhou, so he's going to try something here. Now, the gap at the front, Verstappen now is 9.1 seconds ahead of Alonso. So that gap started to open up a little bit, but that was really weird the way it seemed to fluctuate there for a while. I guess Verstappen must have... it could have been the back markers, actually. Could have really slowed down Verstappen, or he must have gone into some kind of tyre maintenance. Gasly's backing me up, says Russell. Unsure why. Well, maybe Gasly can't go any faster than that. Maybe he can't. There's absolutely no reason for him to back him up. He's 2 seconds behind Leclerc as it stands at the moment, and maybe he just wants to get that fresh air, clean air coming into his car. And so accordingly, yeah, he doesn't need to be on his radiators. Another Lewis Hamilton team radio. Lewis, you're really spoiling us at the moment. What's wrong?
This pace looks okay. It's coming towards us, so don't worry about it.
It wasn't even Lewis. It was his engineer, Bono, I think. Speculation that Leclerc could stay out until the very end of the race because he wants a safety car. Well, he may not be the only one that's in that boat. May not be the only one. Rain is on the way, or is it? Well, there's the question of all questions. Let me show you this if I can. Can you see that? Look at that. Definitely looks cloudy. And as you know, I am a rain expert, and it's certainly raining over that cloud. Or under that cloud over there in the top left. I can tell you that much. Whether or not it'll ever make its way onto the circuit, well, who knows? Who knows? Now, Gasly has suddenly caught up with Leclerc, and he's 0.9 of a second behind him, so he's within the DRS range. And funnily enough, then Russell has dropped back a little bit. He's 1.3 seconds behind Gasly, and Ocon has started to get very close to him. Could that be right? It doesn't look like Ocon is that close to him on the timing screen. Oh, a lovely shot there from a boat, on board a boat. My personal yacht. It is Russell, and it's oh, it's Perez. It's Perez. Oh, they've called in Leclerc. He's into the pits now. So where is he going to come back out? He's already lost 2 positions to Gasly and Russell. He's lost to Ocon. He's lost out to Sainz. He's lost out to Hamilton. Yeah, he should come out ahead of Tsunoda. How far behind Hamilton is he going to be, though? That's the question of all questions right now. No, he's quite far behind him, I'd say. Quite far. 9.8 seconds, they're saying. Team radio here for Valtteri Bottas.
Quite consistent, but yeah, I can't keep up with the race anymore.
Copy, copy,
This is the place, so.
copy. Understood.
So somehow this this AlphaTauri, yeah, it seems a bit more at home on this circuit than it does on a few other circuits. I guess speed has been their issue, and they have the Honda/Red Bull engine, so I'm not really sure where the issues come from. But it could just be the aero setup that they have on the car as well. Mercedes Twitter saying clouds are rolling over the Monaco harbour, but rain doesn't look imminent at the moment. Okay. Alrighty. So you never know, and we may not have rain. That prediction that we were hearing from Williams, they were saying in 20 laps. That prediction now is 8 laps old, so only 12 laps for that rain to materialise if they are truly telling us the truth. Or maybe we just don't listen to Williams anymore when they give us weather reports. "15 laps," they're telling Alonso now. 15 laps for rain. So it was 12 laps according to Williams. 15 laps according to Aston. And so that really puts him on the bubble as to whether or not he's going to pit, or he's going to just hang on and wait for the rain. Really does, because that puts 3 laps over 58, 61, around lap 61. I guess it's okay, but they would need to be a lot more definitive on whether or not they're expecting rain as those laps roll around, because we don't want Alonso in a situation where he's suddenly starting to lose time because those tires have just degraded so much, and after he pits, then he loses 3rd place. Probably no danger of that at the moment, since he's about 25 seconds ahead of Gasly. So he does have a pit stop in hand, actually, if you think about it that way. Gasly, of course, hasn't pitted yet either. Russell is in 4th, and he hasn't pitted either. And then out of all the guys that have pitted, we have Ocon in 5th place, which I guess is net 3rd after everybody else pits. Sainz is in 6th. Hamilton is in 7th. Leclerc is in 8th now. He's 7 seconds behind Hamilton. Tsunoda is in 9th, and Norris is in 10th place. Let me see. De Vries has been lapped in 12th. So Piastri hasn't been lapped yet. Verstappen, I have no doubt, is closing in on him. Yeah, he's getting quite close to him now, just looking at the tracker. And it gets very easy, actually, to see the cars on the tracker when he laps people, because, of course, everybody that gets lapped disappears from the tracker. I don't have any control over that aspect of it, I'm afraid. But it does make it a lot easier to look at. Thinking back to the 90s, there was a Monaco Grand Prix where I think was 4 or 5 cars finished the race. That was the one that Olivier Panis won for the Prost team, if I remember correctly. It was a long time ago, but yeah, I think we're beyond those days of reliability now. Cars just don't break down like they used to. Gasly has finally pitted. So where's he going to come back out now? He's in 7th as it stands, but he'll probably go behind Leclerc here. Yeah, he's fallen behind Leclerc. Oh no, he's ahead of Leclerc. Oh, Leclerc has just got him now. They're pretty close to each other on the track, actually. Pretty close. Verstappen, Alonso, Russell, Tsunoda, Norris, Piastri, De Vries, Bottas, Magnussen, Stroll all still have to pit. Lap 49 of 79. Only 30 laps left to go. Oh, well, you know, there's a long way left to go in this race. Well, only 30 laps left to go now. Only 30 laps. And as traditionally boring as this race generally is, there hasn't been a lot of overtaking, but it's been somewhat fascinating so far. It has been fascinating. It's really one of these races where if it finishes like this, you'll be like, yeah, that was boring. But if something dramatic happens just before the end, it can completely change the context of the race and your view of the race as to how it went down. We have another team radio here for Valtteri Bottas, and Bottas has been providing us with some great information on the radio today, so hopefully this is a weather report from Alfa Romeo, but maybe not.
Okay, Valtteri, we're now looking at Plan B. Confirm you're happy with that? Plan B.
Didn't hear any confirmation there, Valtteri, but Plan B, well, he's still out. He hasn't pitted. He's on the hard tyre. Oh, what is Plan B? Plan B could be to pit now for medium tyres, perhaps, as opposed to waiting until later in the race and going on the soft tyres, which I think most of the cars further down the field can do, because, of course, they didn't use their soft tyres during the qualifying session in a manner that some of the others would have. If we're looking at this list here, yeah, so Perez, for example, has a ton of new soft tyres. Oh, they've just told Verstappen that there's some rain on the track around turn 6 and turn 8. And hang on, here's the team radio. This might be it.
Maybe drops of rain around turn 6 to turn 8.
Now, Verstappen, by the way, hasn't pitted yet, and he's on the medium tire, so he's actually doing a fantastic job here. So he could actually be playing the weather just as much as Alonso is here. So this will be very frustrating for Alonso, actually, because he would have probably expected that Verstappen should have pitted by now. He really should have pitted by now. Tire strategy, yeah, between laps, let me see, between lap 30 to 38 for the medium tires is what Pirelli were telling us, and it's lap 51 now. So Max has done an amazing job on these tires. It's just it's kind of depressing. This Red Bull is so fast, and he can go so long on the tires. They don't have strong degradation as well. That's, you know, it's ominous for everybody else, but Verstappen is such a good racer. We just saw that yesterday in qualifying. Like, he's so skillful. He's so good. Putting him in the fastest car is bad news for everybody. Putting him in the second fastest car, well, he'll still have a shot at the World Championship, as we saw in 2021. I know, don't mention the war, but still, that Mercedes was faster than the Red Bull in 2021, in my opinion. Lovely on board here now with Verstappen. This is, well, more than an onboard. This is the helmet cam, the in-helmet onboard cam. When I was looking at that yesterday, I kept thinking of this amazing footage they have from on board with Ayrton Senna when he was driving around here. I think it appears in the Senna movie itself. And it looks quite violent because the camera is so shaky on the car. But, the helmet cam equally looks shaky. And I guess it is very sensitive, given that it's such a small camera. I wouldn't have a lot of stabilization because they're trying to make it as small as possible. But it's amazing to kind of compare the driving back then versus now. Completely different, of course, but still, it kind of called back to that era in a sense. In a sense, yeah. Oh, look at those lovely dark clouds there. Lovely dark clouds. Sean Oak, yeah, we could probably shoot Max and he'd still win. Well, I'm pretty certain we could break one of his legs and we could tie one of his arms behind his back and he'd still have a pretty good shot at it. That's for certain. Not that I condone violence, of course. Now, Russell is going under the radar a little bit because he hasn't pitted yet either. He's running in third place. And, yet to pit. Well, there's a new graphic on the screen. Yet to pit. A yet to pit graphic for George Russell. There you go. I will tell you, it will be kind of funny and cringy all at the same time. if it does start to rain and Russell gets in and gets onto the intermediate tires and comes out ahead of Hamilton, Hamilton is going to have a hissy fit on the radio. Oh man, we did the wrong strategy. Oh my God, like I'm not here for that. We're getting reports that it's raining. I'm getting reports that it's raining. Hang on, nothing on my screen yet.
Yeah, raining quite heavy now.
Oh,
Copy that. Next
Ocon says it's raining. And then we're seeing cars drive over the curb as well at the chicane. Okay, it's all happening now. Oh, look at the wipers are on for the emergency vehicles. Russell, box. Okay, it's happening. Here we go. It's raining. Now. Oh, I'm trying to move my chair and it's not moving for me. Oh, well. I guess I just stay where I am then. Stay where I am. Now, who's going to blink first and come into the pits? 12 seconds the gap between Verstappen and Alonso, but Alonso and Verstappen haven't pitted yet, so they're on equal pegging. Who has the fastest lap? Asks Samuel. So Samuel, the fastest lap at the moment is Hamilton, and he set that just after going onto the hard tyres. Yes, yes, rain. Never thought you'd say that. Well, for an Irish person to say I never thought I'd say that is a weird one, but I know what you mean. And in the context of the sunny Monte Carlo weather, yes, absolutely. Now, I don't even know what I'm looking at on circuit at the moment. It's all over the place. The cars are going very slowly. So who is who? I have to drive super slow because my tires are beep, says Verstappen. Yeah, well, sleepy would have been a better word, I think, Max. But yeah, I see what you mean. Sainz here trying to get past Ocon. Oh, Ocon got sideways there for a second, did he? Sainz. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? I can't keep up. Oh, here's the Max Verstappen team radio whilst we worry about this.
Yeah, I have to drive super slow because my tires are...
Understood, Max. If it might just be survival in that section of track, Max, if the rest of the track is dry.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So the entire circuit isn't covered in rain at the moment. So I don't think there's any point in somebody coming in for tires just yet because there are huge dry patches out here. Sainz complaining that he's going to crash. We need to do something about this. I don't know. Coming back to the tire issue. So Sainz had to go at Ocon. It didn't work out. Ocon is still ahead of Sainz here. That's for 4th and 5th place. Hamilton now is in 6th behind Sainz. How close is Hamilton to Sainz? He's 3 seconds behind him. So he's close enough. Close enough. Now, this is the part of the circuit here as we're coming down to the tunnel section. You can say it's really raining down here. And the camera is getting covered in rain as well. Alonso, box. Alonso's going to do it here. He's going to pull the trigger. Alonso's gambling because, well, he knows that it's just going to end up Verstappen doing the same thing as him. Here's Alonso into the pit. Alonso has put on medium tires. He's put on medium tires, so he doesn't believe it's wet enough. Craziness. Gosh, I thought he might have waited a lap or two longer and just see how this plays out. But lap 55 of 78, so there's 23 laps left to go. There's lots of time for more rain. That's Ocon. Ocon's in the pits. Ocon has gone into the pits, so that Sainz up into 3rd place. Russell has gone into the pits as well. Hamilton is also in the pits. Oh my goodness, somebody is going to make a very bad decision here. Those are intermediates on Russell's car. Intermediates on Ocon's car. Now, what did Hamilton put on? I'm guessing intermediates as well. Oh, it's really going down here. Could Alonso have made the right call? Is it the wrong call? Is he going to regret this? Oh, that was Hamilton. I just missed. I think that was a green stripe on that tyre, so that's intermediates for him as well. Yellow flag, sector 2. Sector 2, there's a yellow flag. Oh, it's a Ferrari. It's Sainz. He hasn't crashed. He's just gone off circuit, but he's managed to get back on. But he will have... he's dropped behind Leclerc now. Leclerc is struggling to stay on the circuit. Look at that. Leclerc is really struggling. Oh, these are really bad conditions here. These are really bad conditions. Box for Sainz. So Sainz will be going on to the intermediates as well. Piastri has just gone into the pits. Norris has gone into the pits. Piastri got ahead of Norris, so Norris had an incident. Verstappen is in. He's on the intermediates. Alonso. No, Alonso. It's gone wrong. It's gone wrong for Alonso. Oh, Leclerc is not letting Sainz pass. Sainz trying his best to get past him. Why should he let him pass? Here's a team radio for Verstappen.
Alonso has pitted for dry tyres. Understood, Max.
We need inters.
Understood, Max. We are pitting for inters.
He knows what he wants. He knows what he wants. How did Alonso get this call so wrong? Alonso's in the pits. Oh, shoot. I want to say something stronger than that. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Seriously, guys. That is worse than Ferrari. Goodness sakes. What kind of a strategy is that? Can he chase him down on circuit now? I doubt it. How far behind is he? How far? 19.6 seconds. Oh, come on. Okay, all right. Both Ferraris have just pitted as well, so it's all happening now. And it's Leclerc gets out in front of... Oh, it's Leclerc versus Gasly here. This is going to be very, very tight. Who's going to come out in front? Coming around the corner. Oh, Leclerc, he pulls over in front of him. Leclerc just stays ahead, but does he have the grip now? Will Gasly try to get him straight away? Well, if it was any other circuit, he'd get him. We have a yellow flag still in Sector 2. Green flag now has come up, so I'm not sure if something else just happened there. And a yellow flag again in Sector 2, so something has happened. And green flag again. Oh gosh, they're not showing us what's going on, that's for sure. Intermittent yellow flags. Rain with a chance of intermittent yellow flags. That's what I feel like at the moment. Now we're looking at Gasly and Leclerc there. Here's on board with Verstappen. Oh, he gets very close to the wall. Oh, he just about touches the barrier there, but he keeps it going. That was on the medium tires. That's why he decided he wanted intermediates. Oh my goodness. And there's what's happened to Sainz. And he just lost the back of the car and he went sliding into one of the very few parts of the circuit that actually has a runoff area. Just coming down to... that's just above Casino, I think. Stroll. Oh, Stroll has driven into the wall. Stroll has driven into the wall. His front wing is broken. It looks like it's under his car. Ah, he's driven into the wall again. He can't control the car. He can't control the car. No. I don't know what's going on out there at the moment, but Stroll can't keep that car going at all. He's struggling now, big time. I'd say Stroll is out of the... Well, they're classifying him as out of the race here. Verstappen, Alonso, Ocon is your top three. Then we have Hamilton 1.8 seconds behind Ocon. We have Russell 8.8 seconds behind Hamilton. Leclerc is 5.7 seconds behind Russell. Gasly is 0.7 of a second behind Leclerc. Sainz is 3.149 seconds behind Gasly. Then in 9th place, Tsunoda is a further 41 seconds behind. Piastri is 15 seconds behind Tsunoda in 10th place. And Norris is 5 seconds behind his teammate in 11th place. Bottas 12th, De Vries 13th, Zhou 14th, Albon 15th, Perez 16th, Magnussen 17th, Hülkenberg 18th, Sargent 19th, and Stroll is apparently out. Kevin Magnussen has not yet pitted. He's holding out for the wet weather tires, but he's going to be losing so much time. This is not a good strategy. All right, all this excitement. Let's catch up on some team radios. Here's Yuki Tsunoda.
Yuki, it's difficult for everybody. You're doing a good job.
Now, Magnussen, team radio.
We're going to box for full wets, Kev. We're going to box for full wets.
Full wets for Magnussen. All right, so that's what they were aiming to do. The circuit has gone very, very wet. Now we're exactly 20 laps after that message from Williams. So Williams were closest to being right, but it came about maybe 4 laps early, according to their calculation. So as I said, never trust Williams. Never trust them. They just don't know what they're talking about. Now, we're on board here with one of the Alpines. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. Oh, Magnussen didn't make it to the pits. Magnussen didn't make it to the pits. He's in the barrier. Has he stopped? No, he's back going again. So he got out of the barriers and he's managed to get the car going again. Does he have damage? No, and straight into the pit. So that was just before the pit entrance that he did that. Oh, well, if ever you wanted a message that this is the time to change your tires, that was it. And now he'll be going onto the full wet, so at least we haven't been deprived of this, because we want to see what these full wets are like. Here's the team radio for him again.
We're going to box for full wets, Kev. We're going to box for full
Oh,
wets.
that's the same one. That's the same one. How hasn't there been a safety car? I'm anticipating a safety car any second ever since this rain started. And every time I see the yellow flag come up, I'm like, oh. But you know, with the rain these days, they're so careful. I almost expected to switch immediately to a red flag if we have a big crash. But amazing. Oh, and there's a yellow flag again, sector 2. It's one of the Williams. It's it must be Sargent. Yeah, it's Sargent. Oh yeah, I called it earlier. I told you his car won't finish in one piece. But he's managed to keep it going. Sainz, Perez is in. Perez is in the pits for wet weather tires, I guess. Let's see what he's put on here. He's just driving past now. Yeah, those are full wets. Is it really time for full wet tires? 5-second penalty for Russell. Unsafe rejoin. Oh, Russell. You cheeky beggar. What are you doing? Speeding in the pit lane. Sargent is under investigation for speeding in the pit lane. It's all happening now, I tell you what. We had a nice leisurely start to this race, but Russell and Perez are under investigation for unsafe rejoin. Okay, well, one of them was an unsafe release and came into the path of the other one. So we'll see who it is. Formula 1 app is saying that just Russell is being investigated. So I guess it was Russell who was put into the path of Perez, perhaps. But Perez wasn't in the pits the same time as Russell. Maybe I was rejoining the circuit. George Russell gets a penalty. It's confirmed. Pino for Russell. 5 seconds. Yeah, what are the lap times at the moment? So Lewis Hamilton still has the fastest lap, and probably that's not going to be beaten unless the circuit dries dramatically before the end of the race. By the way, if the circuit does dry dramatically before the end of the race, that's great because we get additional pit stops and people trying to figure out when they need to pit. Alonso, 17.3 seconds behind Verstappen. He could be winning the race. That's Magnussen, is it? That's Magnussen, yeah. He's in the runoff. He's going to try and get the car turned around again. Reversing onto the circuit. There isn't enough space there to spin the car around. Reversing onto the circuit. This never looks like a good idea, if you ask me. Never looks like a good idea. Now, I'd spin the car if I was you. Spin it around. Get it out of there. Spin her around. No. Okay, here's George Russell. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Be careful, George. Ah, no, he followed Magnussen. Perez has just drove into the back of Russell, and is that Alonso, or is it one of the Aston Martin? Stroll is out. That must have been Alonso. It looks like Alonso drove at. Oh, there's a Red Bull just hit a wall. That's Perez again, I assume. Oh, it's chaos at the moment. It's chaos. It's chaos. I don't know what's going on anymore. 16.8 seconds is the gap between Verstappen and Alonso. And if Alonso didn't make that stupid second pit stop, could be so much of a different race. It's a disaster. It feckin' is a disaster, I tell you that. It really is. They can't handle the rain. But this is the problem with Formula 1. They cotton wool the drivers so much when it rains these days that when it really does rain, they just can't handle it anymore. I guess there's a certain element of the car design and everything else that goes into this as well. So now this is on board with Verstappen. Like, will Verstappen even finish the race? Will anyone finish the race? This could be a race of attrition yet. Hamilton is in 4th place. He's looking good for the win as it stands. He's 2 seconds now behind Ocon. Alonso 15.7 seconds behind Verstappen, so he's closing it a little bit, but there's only 17 laps left in this race, so Hamilton... Oh, Hamilton wants to stop the race. Ah, Lewis, will you go home? Gosh sakes. Yellow flag in Sector 2. What's happening now? Don't red flag it. Come on, don't red flag it. I would really be very disappointed if they red flagged this. It's nearly dry in some locations on the circuit. Come on, it's not so bad. The drivers just need to slow down a little bit. Like, race the conditions. 17.6 seconds, so 18.5. Wow! Verstappen pulling away from Alonso now, so he's finding a bit of grip. I see Formula 1 are doing their driver of the day. Oh, driver of the day. There's a question for you. Driver of the day. Who's your driver of the day? Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on this. I think Ocon has been pretty good, hasn't he? Hamilton has been pretty good. Russell, no, because of his penalties and the fact he's behind his teammate. Verstappen, yeah, good shout for driver of the day. Alonso, yeah, he could have been driver of the day if his team didn't screw up on the pit stop. I tell you. Okay, our tracker has stopped working, so we're going to have to reload that. We'll get her back up and running now. Any second. There we go. Oh, it's all in white. All in white. Why is it all in white? That is the question. That is the question of all questions. Why has the tracker turned white? It's not something I'm going to resolve right now. 18.9 seconds, so almost 19 seconds. Verstappen has started to pull away now. He's finding speed, so I think the track must be drying. It looks like the track is drying up a little bit. It does look like it's drying up. The cars on the tracker will start moving any second now. And let me switch this back to black as well, because that's a little bit better. It's a little bit easier to see. There's Lance Stroll. Walk of shame back to the pits in the rain by the marina. Now it's almost 20 seconds now between Verstappen and Alonso, so this race is almost over, unless Verstappen is just pushing a little bit too hard. That's the thing. Alonso has a gap of 13.4 seconds back to Ocon, so Alonso has just got to bring this home by the looks of it, and if Verstappen puts himself into the wall, he puts himself into the wall. I think that's generally the approach that he wants to take here for this, and I can't blame him. Okay, we have a George Russell team radio as well to listen to here.
If Leclerc gets close, could we potentially invert positions? And I don't go more than a 5 ahead of Lewis. If he didn't obviously get Esteban. Don't need to answer, no obligation.
This pace is very good at the moment.
I didn't hear the end of that. What did they say? It sounded like a no to me. So he wants to gap Hamilton by 5 seconds so that he doesn't take a penalty. I don't see how that's good for Lewis Hamilton, to be honest with you. The stewards have given a 10-second penalty to Hülkenberg for serving penalty incorrectly. Nico. There's a lot of that happening this season for some reason. Okay, apparently Mercedes told him that he's more than 5 seconds ahead of Leclerc, so why would you do that? It's worth a shot, I suppose, George. Worth a shot, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. You could try to overtake Hamilton on track and then ask him to allow you to have the 5-second gap. That would be yeah, the penalty here for Hülkenberg is confirmed on the screen at the moment. So Russell has put his foot down and he's now building a bigger gap to Leclerc. That is 7 seconds. Okay, it's out to 7 seconds. 7 seconds. Keep an eye on Ocon here as well, because you just never know what happens in this race, and Ocon is there or thereabouts. He's 16 seconds behind Alonso, but you know, equally, if something happens to Alonso, Ocon can benefit from this, or if something happens to Verstappen, he can benefit as well, of course. Just coming around, because it's so. I'm happy to see now. Here we go, Jinx, Super Jinx. Things seem to have calmed down a little bit on circuit. The drivers have gotten used to the conditions by the looks of it. Still very wet on the entry into the tunnel. Of course, it's dry in the tunnel. This is going to burn up the tires as they go through there. Kevin Magnussen has a team radio. Kevin, how are you doing? By the way, where is Magnussen? He's back in 19th. Ooh.
Okay, Kev. To make the car less snappy on power, we're going to suggest DX2.
DX2, okay. That would be an engine mapping on the steering wheel. Well, yeah, I don't know if it's on the steering wheel or if the team do it, but they have to go with their predefined engine mapping into the race. They can't just introduce new mapping during the race. But I guess they have every eventuality covered in case it rains, as they should have. Yeah, it's looking wet, still very wet on certain sectors of the track, but then it looks like even going up the hill there, it does look like there's a dry line coming into play a little bit as well. And these intermediate tires aren't going to hang out for too long now. They're not going to. Perez, by the way, and Hülkenberg and Magnussen, they're on the wet tires. Don't see any really amazing lap times from them. Let's see, Perez would be the best one to look at. A 139.6 last time round. Verstappen 138.3. Alonso 138.1. Ocon 140.3. So faster than Ocon, but not faster than Verstappen and Alonso. Very hard to say. Hamilton 138.9. So Hamilton is running very close to the speed of the Aston Martin and the Red Bull. And a 138.2 makes Russell the second fastest car on the circuit behind Alonso at this moment. Okay, Verstappen on Tsunoda incoming as I predicted. Yeah, well, I didn't predict the rain though, so could be more. Let me see. So isn't he going to have to get signs first? Oh no, he's gone past Tsunoda. Oh yeah, Sainz is a good bit ahead. So, well, my prediction's looking safe actually. Tsunoda wants to know if they're trying to crash him. They're just changing his braking bias to one that is probably better suited for the wet weather, but he is not convinced. Not convinced. Hamilton now is 0.9 of a second behind Ocon, and Russell is 0.7 of a second behind Hamilton. Ocon has just pulled over the second now, 1.2. So Russell is going to come for Hamilton. He's coming for him. I wonder now if the team radio is going to come where they say, George, stay where you are. And his argument, well, Leclerc is 10 seconds behind him, so he doesn't have much of an argument. Now, here's the Yuki Tsunoda team radio. I wonder if it's the one where they're talking about the brakes. It'll be good if it is.
Yuki, we need to find some paces, mainly on the braking. Let's do your best. I know it's difficult.
I know, but this brake sucks!
Offset 5. Build it up on the braking. You can do it.
Are you trying to crush me or what?
It's the response of the race so far, isn't it? Norris now is 0.5 of a second behind Tsunoda, so this is why Tsunoda is under so much pressure. Norris is going to have to find a way through, though. Perez says it's drying up quickly. Well, Sergio, you're on the full wet tires as well, so that's not good news for you. That's for certain. For certain. That's nailed on. Somebody is going to dive down the inside at some stage, and there's going to be a crash as a result. There was Norris. He lost the back of the car for a second. Norris is ahead of Piastri again. No idea what's been going on between the two McLarens today. We haven't seen any of it on the TV screen. But at one point Piastri got past Norris, but Norris is back in front of him again. So I don't know. I have no idea. 22.6 seconds now between Alonso and Verstappen, so that gap pretty much stabilizes, getting slightly bigger. In fact, slightly bigger even. Alonso sets a fast lap from time to time, but it's only like a tenth of a second faster than Verstappen, so it's not going to make much of a difference. And then Verstappen hits back straight away. Now, that back part of the circuit, you know, as you're coming down towards the swimming pool, that does look incredibly wet as well. So there's still a lot of rain out there. I think Perez is mostly worried about the fact that the wet weather tire just isn't appropriate for this circuit. Let's have a look at his last lap time at 1:37.6. And Albon just ahead of him set at 1:35.4. Verstappen set at 1:32.9. Oh, yeah, so Perez is well off the pace. That's 5 seconds slower than his teammate that last time around. 5 seconds slower. That's it's crazy. It's crazy. It's incredible. Hearing that Gasly is getting a black and white flag for track limits. Well, here's a replay of him going over the chicane. Ah, well, that's harsh. That's harsh. That is very harsh because it's wet weather conditions and he just couldn't get the car stopped. He didn't make up any advantage from what I can see there, but they've called it. So clearly he must have made a little bit of time. Yeah, it's confirmed on the screen now. Black and white flag for Gasly. We're on lap 68. Only 10 laps to go. Can you believe it? There's a long way to go. There isn't a long way to go now. There's only 10 laps left to go. I was going to say the water is incredibly blue there today. No, that was the canopy over the stand. That was blue. Sky is starting to look a little bit. It's still, but there's sun. There's sun behind there. I'd be, you know, coming back to the whole Irish euphemism. I'd be happy.
Okay, mate. So we got 3 warnings now for turn 10 and 11. So be very careful there, please.
That was them telling Gasly about his black and white flag. Norris gets the move done. He gets past Yuki Tsunoda and he gets done into the first corner around the outside. Lovely move. A lovely, lovely move. And now we have Piastri, who has caught up to the back of Tsunoda as well. So Tsunoda is struggling big time here. He got him. He got him. Into the first corner as well. There you go. Piastri is through now, so he's 5 seconds behind Norris. It must have been a replay of Norris. Russell is claiming he's right up on the gearbox of Hamilton now. Well, he's 1.6 seconds behind him, so he's not right up on his gearbox. Sean Oak says that who's this? This is Yuki Tsunoda. Ah, gosh, it's just all gone wrong for him. He's in that runoff area, but there's no space to spin that car around in there. You're going to have to reverse yourself back out as much as you can. Yellow flag then in sector 1 and 2. Oh, here come cars now. Oh, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. He's just going to let them go. Yeah, he does. He's getting lapped there, isn't he? Perez should pit and retire the car just to save the engine. Yeah, possibly. So he's in 16th place. Chances of him making it into the top 10 with 9 laps to go, very slim, but you never know. There could be a pile-up. Anything could happen, but yeah, maybe for the sake of 9 laps, there's no point at this stage. And also, it doesn't go down well. You'd be like a quitter. I know anytime Hamilton ever suggests this, I go really tough on him. So I need to apply those rules to Perez as well, even though I like him. Not that I don't like Lewis Hamilton. What would make you think that? What would make you think that at all? Now, this is Gasly we're looking at more than likely. Yes, Gasly. He's 7 tenths ahead of Sainz. Yeah, Tsunoda says his brakes are really bad. Lando Norris was on the radio.
Yeah, like the people I'm racing against, mate.
I know. The car you're racing is Sainz, 48 seconds.
Oh, sick.
Oh, lovely. 48 seconds. You get cracking. You have 8 laps left. Yeah, they're just asking Verstappen if he thinks it's time for a dry weather tire, and he said no. Before the end of the race, that is. He said no, it's Inter's all the way to the end. Perez now is 16 seconds behind Tsunoda in 16th place. And he's actually got Hülkenberg now under a second behind him. So Hülkenberg is going to start putting him under pressure. Hülkenberg also on the wet weather tires. So it's like for like, but not going well for Perez at all. Alonso 25, nearly 25 seconds, so 24.4 seconds behind Verstappen. Ocon then is 16 seconds behind Alonso, and Hamilton is 2.2 seconds behind Ocon, and Russell is 2.5 seconds. So Mercedes must have told him to back off, I guess. They must have told him to back off. That can be that would be my main guess, I would say. On board here with Max Verstappen, the helmet cam again. Oh, he clipped the wall with the right rear. He did indeed. He did. He's worried that he might have punctured. Looks okay at the moment. Be more worried about the suspension actually if you're going to be tapping the wall, that you could break one of those suspensions. But he's still running. I'd say Alonso now is praying that Verstappen runs into a wall or something like that. This is probably Alonso's best chance to beat Verstappen in a race. I think the only other way that Alonso is going to win a race is if Verstappen doesn't finish that race. But you'd never know. There could be a circuit that comes along that just really suits the Aston Martin later in the season. I can't see it myself, but we have seen certain cars run very well on certain circuits. Yeah, Tsunoda is struggling. He is 6 seconds behind Albon now. He's back in 15th place. So it's not going very well for him. Now, Perez had to let his teammate through. Is that oh, that's a double lap. That's a double lap for Perez. He's been lapped twice now by his teammate. Championship contender. My goodness, talk about a bad weekend. A bad weekend. So apparently, Alonso went from 24th to 6th place in the 2010 Monaco Grand Prix. Wow. And he can't even go from 2nd to 1st here. Perez is in the pits, and I wonder, Sean Og, if they're just going to retire him. No, they're putting him onto Inters. Not a lot else they can do, I suppose. Either retire him or put him onto Inters because the wets just weren't working. Now we have Alonso team radio.
Stefano, we really think the best place to save some tyre temp is 13-14 and exit of the last corner traction.
Okay. A few tips for Fernando. He's still just about staying under the 25-second gap now to Verstappen, but Verstappen has got the measure of this track. Just about. He did touch the wall the last time around, but so far so good for Max Verstappen. Yeah. All right. Well, let's have a run through. Stroll is out of the race. Magnussen then is in 19th. Sargent is in 18th. Perez 17th. Hülkenberg in 16th. Tsunoda 15th. Albon 14th. Zhou 13th. De Vries 12th. Started in 12th. Still in 12th. He did drop down to 13th at one stage, but he's in 12th. Bottas 11th. Piastri is in 10th. Norris is in 9th. Sainz is in 8th. Gasly is in 7th. Leclerc is in 6th. Russell is in 5th. Hamilton is in 4th. Ocon is in 3rd. Alonso is in 2nd. And Verstappen, of course, is leading the race. And some important gaps. 25.6 seconds now, so it's gone over the 25-second gap between Verstappen and Alonso. Ocon then is 13 seconds behind Alonso. Hamilton now is 1.9 seconds, 1.884 seconds in fact, it'll keep changing, behind Ocon in 4th place. Russell then 5.1 seconds behind Hamilton, so he's given up on chasing down Hamilton. And importantly for him, Leclerc is 10.1 seconds behind Russell, so that's much more than the 5 seconds he's going to lose for the penalty. So that's working well for him. Gasly then is 0.8 of a second behind Leclerc, so Gasly's pushing Leclerc for position here. Is he? Hang on, I'm getting confused. No, Gasly and Sainz is 1 second, or 0.999 seconds. And the gap then between Gasly and Leclerc is 2 seconds, actually. So it's 2 seconds, okay. Norris is 30 seconds behind Sainz. So he's closed in that 48 seconds. He's caught 18 seconds so far. So he's going pretty fast. And Piastri then is about 10 seconds behind his teammate in 10th place. There you have it. Team radio now for Lewis Hamilton. Let's listen to Lewis.
I'm struggling for grip as it is, mate.
Struggling for grip. Alrighty. I think they were probably giving him the push towards Ocon, telling him to get after him, and he said no. Well, Hamilton is a racer. I'm sure he's working on it in his own way. And says that it says a lot that Leclerc cannot get to within 5 seconds of Russell for a position without a pass. It does, unfortunately. It does say a lot. This it looked better earlier in the weekend, I think, with the practice sessions, that Ferrari had a little bit of speed here. Still not the Red Bull speed, but close enough. But no, the race pace just isn't there for them at all. And we can try to blame wet weather and everything else like that, but it's the full package at the end of the day. And they weren't setting the world alight in the dry conditions either. I think they've fallen off a little bit more in the wet weather, but all the shenanigans and comings together with Gasly and the likes definitely won't have helped that. But yeah, very disappointing once again for Ferrari. Very, very disappointing Ferrari. 27, yeah, just going on 27 seconds now, the gap between Verstappen and Alonso. We actually have 3.5 laps left in this race, so we're getting there now. We're getting there. It's almost done. Verstappen is going around. Verstappen has nobody around him at the moment, unless he's well, maybe he does. Maybe he's going to do the double lapping on Tsunoda, perhaps. Perhaps. Magnussen is in the pits, and he's retiring for the race due to multiple moments with the wall. Haas haven't had a weekend to remember either, as he becomes the second driver to retire after Stroll. Now, Haas definitely haven't had a weekend to remember. Yeah, Magnussen is in the pits now, I can see that. Hülkenberg, though, well, he's running in 16th, so he's not in last. Lewis complaining about his tyres. Wow. That was my bingo. Yeah, actually, that's a good one. If you could create a bingo list for Formula 1, what would you put on it? Yeah, definitely Lewis complaining about the tyres has to be on there. What are the other really obvious ones? Really obvious. I feel like there's a Verstappen asking about losing power or something like that. He does that quite regularly, and it never turns out to be the case. I think he just tries to get us excited sometimes. That's one. I can't think of another. Maybe Smooth Operator by Carlos Sainz, but he won't be singing that today. He won't be singing that. Oh, Russell, what's he got to say? Can't hear. Can't hear what he said. I can't hear what he said. Okay, Alex Albon, Team Radio, coming up.
All these brake changes, you're changing the way the car's feeling every single time.
Yeah. So that's a little bit discerning if you're a driver, I guess. If the feel of the car is changing every time around, I get it. They're probably trying to tweak it, but he was probably happy with it the way it was. So he's running in 14th place at the moment, 4.6 seconds behind Zhou, so he probably won't catch Zhou. Oh, there's Tom Holland. who is going to do the checkered flag. Tom Holland, no doubt, will play Lando Norris in a future Formula One movie. I think he looks a lot like him. Lap 77. So I'm still on lap 77, Sean Oak, but I'm not at all surprised to hear that Verstappen has won the race. Really and truly not. Oh no, I see what you mean. A Verstappen win on the bingo. Yeah, well, there you go. Verstappen win. Maximum points for Red Bull. It won't be today though. Maximum points for Red Bull because of Perez. Final lap. Okay, the final lap has started. So here we go on the final lap. This is it now. This is the one where Verstappen can put it in the wall potentially. Potentially. Not that he will. He's far too composed for that. And he won't be going for fastest lap either because he knows it's a wet surface. He's not... It wasn't born yesterday, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But it's been such a good weekend for Max Verstappen. You know, we're watching him come around here, just going down through the casino hairpin, coming around the corner here to enter into the tunnel, and he's been very, very good this weekend. That qualifying yesterday was absolutely amazing. It was really amazing, and so I think he deserved the race win on the balance of that alone. But he's been pretty supreme today. He's had some close calls. He's touched the wall, clipped the barriers from time to time. It looked like he was a little bit unsteady there when it started raining as well. Who wasn't, I suppose you could say. But he's coming around here now. All the crowd are cheering and standing up and waving their flags and everything, as you'd expect. Just coming around the final corner now as we head onto the pit straight. Here he comes now over the line, and yeah, he's won the race. Spider-Man waves the flag. Max Verstappen wins the race. Good win. Very, very good win. He won by a country mile indeed. That's what they said on Sky Sports. Well, 27.9, so basically 28 seconds, I'd say. Alonso's probably going to take his foot off the gas coming around here as well, is he? Don't know, still remaining at 27.8 seconds, but Alonso is going to come second here. Yeah, Alonso's got second, and it'll be Ocon actually in third place. Hamilton won't catch him at this stage. 2 seconds. Let's get the camera on Ocon, please. ASAP. Yeah, Ocon has finished. He's finished. Jan says a bit of a boring race, nice with a little rain. Was hoping for a better weekend for Kevin. Jan from Denmark. Yeah, Jan. He didn't have the best. Plenty of action with Kevin Magnussen this weekend, but no, Haas just weren't on the speed at all this weekend. It just didn't suit them, this circuit. So it's a bit of a shame. And Sean Oak says, getting left at a gas station by your dad is apparently a good motivator to do good. Okay. Very wise words, Sean Oak. Very wise words. Yeah, everybody's finished now. Everybody's finished. So it leaves me with one thing to do. It's Max Verstappen. Breaking news. He's won the race. There you go. He's won the Monaco Grand Prix 2023. And all the glitz and glamour that goes with it. Oh, do you remember the painful interview with Serena Williams was that last year? Oh god. Well, I think I'm going to step out before they start doing any of that rubbish again. Seriously, do not need to watch that. Verstappen Team Radio, let's listen to the celebrations.
You've done it again, Max. Well done, mate.
Very lovely, that. That was the real Monaco. It was quite difficult there in the wet, but quite enjoyable as well. Thank you, guys. That was a really well executed race, I think.
Yeah, well done, mate. That is a brilliant performance. I mean, it's nearly 2 hours long, and you've covered all the conditions. Well done. It was a fantastic drive.
Yeah, that was the long one, for sure.
That was a long race. That felt very long, I have to say. You know, I did get good mileage out of there's a long way to go yet during that race, and it really did feel like it. But that was very lovely, he said. That was very lovely indeed. I'm sure it was very lovely for him. Yeah, even the team sounds bored. They do, Sean Oak. Yeah, they're probably, well, I'm sure Christian Horner has a script at this stage. You got it, Max. You've just won the Monaco Grand Prix. Alpine will go crazy though. P3 for Ocon. Frenchman in Monaco, gets on the podium, so that'll go down very well. Speaking of Monaco, Leclerc finished in 7th. Charles. Come on. Come on, for goodness sakes. Speaking of which, let's have a quick look at the championship standings. I don't think the Constructors has updated yet, but we should have the drivers' standings here. So Verstappen, of course, gets an extra 25 points. And that puts him now 39 points ahead of Perez. So any semblance of a battle seems to have kind of diminished and disappeared in this race, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. Perez then is in 2nd place. No points at all today for Perez. Alonso remains in 3rd place. He gets 18 points and he pulls away a little bit from Hamilton. Hamilton's doing a fairly good job there in 4th place. And you could imagine that if they're able to bring in better upgrades than Aston Martin, that he could catch Alonso before the end of the season. You know, we're not even halfway through it yet. So he's doing well. Russell will be, I guess, disappointed. He, of course, gets 10 points. Hamilton has 13 points, so he falls a little bit further behind his teammate again. So he's 19 behind him now, but he does move up 1 position. He leapfrogs Carlos Sainz. Sainz now is in 6th place. Leclerc is in 7th, and there's only 6 points between those. And yeah, then we have Stroll and Ocon and Gasly closing out the top 10. So there you go. Gridjunk says, thanks for hosting us, sir. See you at the next race. Thanks indeed, Gridjunk. Great to have you on board. Sean Og, best finish for Alonso this season. That's true, actually. He didn't manage to get 2nd place. It's because that pesky Sergio Perez didn't finish in the top 10 for once. That's why he managed it. Okay, it looks like they're just doing a genuine interview with Max Verstappen, so there's no need to panic about Serena Williams and all that sort of lark. Right, I'm going to sign off there. I'm going to go and see if we can watch Everton or Leicester City or somebody like that get relegated from the Premier League. I tell you, it could be somebody big going down today. And thanks very much for joining us. As ever, you know, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel as well. Hit the bell as well if you're on YouTube and you want to be notified of future videos. And if you're watching us on any other platform, don't hesitate to follow there as well. And I really appreciate your support, as I always say. And yeah, thanks for watching. Good job, and thank you very much for the stats. I tell you what, that was amazing. That was amazing when you saw that pattern with the hard and medium tires as well. Really good. Really, really impressed. Thanks for joining again. And thanks everybody for joining. Speak to you soon.